Okay, this is for term 3, week 3. We are going to start talking about rotations. So rotation, the key word here is to rotate. So you're thinking of that as a turn. You're turning that shape on the graph. What direction is clockwise? Clockwise is going to be to the right. It's going to be a right turn. And then counterclockwise is the opposite direction of a clock. So that's going to where it turns to the left. All right, so it says use your board. We don't have any dry erase boards in here, so on the back of this, you'll have this graph. Go ahead and plot point A at 4, 3. It is numbered for you to make it easier on you. So we're going to go over 4 and up 3. Place your point and make sure to label it A. Now, this says to rotate A 90 degrees clockwise. Now, if you're rotating something 90 degrees clockwise, we are going to rotate it to the right, okay, and it's going to land in this other quadrant, okay, but the entire thing is rotating. And if you think about this, this is 90 degrees, this little corner here. So if you turn it a full corner, it's going to be pointing upside down right here. Okay, so this is going to turn the same way. So this was at 4, 3. And so now whenever we turn it to the right, we're taking this entire, kind of visualize a rectangle with that point on the edge of it. If you see this little rectangle here, if you can visualize that and turn it so that it's facing down, it's going to kind of take this shape. It's still 3 by 4. But you see the longest side is over here. And so now the point lands here at A prime. And what is that ordered pair for A prime? So this was 4, 3. And now if you look, this one is at 3, -4. And so if you're paying attention to this and you're observing what happened with the ordered pairs for that? Okay, so if you're thinking that they swapped, that's true. So X became Y and Y became X, but also it changed its sign, okay? And so on your notes for A prime, go ahead and record what A prime became. It's 3, -4. Okay, maybe make a note that you're seeing this. It was XY, and then you saw that they flipped or crossed, I'm not sure, they exchanged positions is what we would say. They exchanged positions, and this value was positive, and now it's negative. So we have changed its sign. To show that it's changed its sign, put a minus out in front of that. So you swap them and change the sign of the second. All right, we have another example for a rotation of 180 degrees. It says use your board. We have our graph paper. Plot a point at Q where it's 3, -5. So we have 3, -5, and this is point Q. All right, and they said to rotate it 180 degrees. Notice that there's not a direction. The reason that there's not a direction is because 180 degrees is exactly halfway. So it doesn't matter if you turn to the left or you turn to the right, or clockwise or counterclockwise, because you're going to land in the same spot regardless. So the direction is not important on this. But when you rotate 180 degrees, think about this. If I were to take this paper and turn it 180 degrees, This is 90. And then this is 180. It's exact opposite of what it was, right? So if you're thinking about this point, if I move it over here, it's going to be 90. And then if I move it over here, it's going to be 180. It has to be exact opposite of where it is. And if you think about this, it's at 3, -5. And what's exact opposite of that? Just change the signs, right? So if you just change the signs, it's -3, +5. And that's Q prime. So we have, record this on your paper, -3, +5. All we did was we took X and Y and we made them exactly the opposite of what they were. We don't exchange X with Y, we just change their signs. So no exchanges, just a full sign change. All right, so if you're trying to anticipate, you should try to anticipate what this next one would be. If you're moving counterclockwise, it means you're doing the opposite of what you did here. Okay, so if you're trying to think of it as a rule, then if this rule is to exchange them and change the X, then what do you think the rule will be if we do 90 degrees counterclockwise? Okay, so if you're trying to anticipate this, maybe exchange them and change the Y instead. That would be the other direction. So let's look at that on the graph. Go ahead and plot -2, -1 as point R. Okay, so R is represented in the green here. We're going counterclockwise, so remember clockwise was to the right, counterclockwise is to the left, so we're going to land over here in this quadrant. It was at -2, -1, and think of this as your 90-degree angle. That means you're going to land over here. And if you want to, it's a good idea to think of this as one full shape, just kind of give you a visual. Maybe this is a square. And if you turn this square to the other direction, then it should look like that. And so what is the new ordered pair? -1, -2. And so +1, -2. And so this is R prime. All right, and so let's look at that rule. Let's record R prime on our paper. It was 1, -2. Okay, and so if you're looking at your rule, sometimes it's easier to do the rule than it is to graph. But looking at this, the numbers exchanged. So Y is in place of X and X is in place of Y. But then what happened? They changed the sign of this Y value and it became +1. So we would show that that changed that sign by putting a little minus sign in front of it. So if we're going to the right, exchange X and Y and change the right side sign. If we're moving left, exchange the letters and change the left side. All right, so let's look at our examples here. We have 2, 3 rotated 90 degrees clockwise. So if we're going clockwise, we're going to use where we exchange them and change the sign of the right. So exchange them, and the right-hand side is 2, so now it is -2. the rule is written just like what we wrote in pink up here. So the rule is x, y becomes y opposite x. For T, rotate 180. Remember, the direction doesn't matter. The rule is to take x and y and just change their signs. So negative x, or opposite x, opposite y. So if they're originally negative 5, 1, then the opposite would be 5, negative 1. And then for P, we have 0, negative 4, and it's rotated 270 counterclockwise. Okay, so there are no rules up here for 270 degrees, okay? But if you add 180 with 90, that's 270. Also, if you look at a graph, let's look at this little piece of paper here. Let's say you are rotating this point 270 degrees. When you rotate it 90, it's here. 180, it's over here. And then 270, it's over here. So 270 clockwise is the same thing as 90 degrees counterclockwise. Same thing, 270 clockwise is the same thing as 90 degrees. Sorry, this is counterclockwise, CCW. 270 counterclockwise is the same thing as 90 degrees clockwise. So we can just use the rule that is written in pink up here. So take x and y, exchange them, and change the sign of the x. So exchange negative 4 and 0, and then you would change the sign of 0, but 0 is neutral no matter what, so it just stays 0.